Welcome back to Let's Get Real, a talk show for guys. Conversation today, a lot around purpose. Your purpose. Life is easier when you go in the direction of your highest excitement, regardless of the outcome, which transitioned nicely into a conversation about God. Before we jump back into that, I want to let everybody know. Podcast is up. Got that up this week. So if you listen to podcasts on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, which are the two prominent places where people listen to podcasts, if you search Let's Get Real, a talk show for guys, or Let's Get Real and type in my name, Michael Sharkey, or Anthony Polachemi, or Spanish, you'll be able to find it. So you can, I'm going to try to get the segments of this show. I'm probably going to post all the segments of today's show.
Okay.
I'll try to get it up.
I dig it.
By Sunday night, Monday, somewhere in that ballpark. I don't have it up yet, but my goal for this week is to get a YouTube channel up.
Okay.
So we'll post content there, videos from the show. I'm recording us talking right now. So we'll have a YouTube. We'll have podcast is already up. So if you ever miss a show, and obviously we're live Saturdays at noon Eastern on The Bone. I had a friend of mine last week say he was listening from Atlanta, so it's worth saying out loud. You can stream us no matter where you are in the world. Literally, my wife is in Costa Rica right now, and she was like, "Hey, I'm going to try to listen."
Awesome.
So I also I meant to mention this earlier. I've talked a little bit about. So I have two kids, but then I have this other kid that's kind of my son. He's not my blood son, but he's a big friend of the family and lived with us for a while, and I love him to death. And his name is Desi. Desi, and I shared a little bit, and it's his story to share. But what I will tell you is he had a similar experience of hitting rock bottom like you, Spanish. And his life right now is like a movie. It's so good.
That's awesome.
It is so good. So he is doing something today, and I want to give a shout out to him because it's actually unreal what he's doing. But because May is Mental Health Awareness Month, he finally shared his story about him hitting rock bottom and getting close to suicide and coming back through the support of friends and the support of family. And now, man, he is just crushing it.
That's awesome.
But one of his things is he is an ultra runner. So like his Instagram is Ultra Runner Desi. If you want to follow him. And he's doing this thing today at Run Unlimited in St. Pete. I'm going to swing by there afterwards to give him support. And he's doing it to benefit and raise money for NAMI Florida. It's an organization that offers free services for mental health support, online groups, resources, etc. But he's at Run Unlimited St. Pete, which I think is over by I think it's close to Three Daughters or Green Bench, one of the breweries. Okay. Anyway, it is a treadmill studio. Okay. And he's running today. He's literally running right now. He's running from sunrise to sunset, from 6:40 in the morning to 8:20 at night, and he's not stopping.
Get it.
So I asked him yesterday, I was like, how many miles is that? He's like, I think it's going to be like around 80 or 90 miles.
Which I'm sure for him is nothing at this point.
I'm sure it's going to be something. Yeah. But the most he's ever done in a day is he's done a couple of ultra marathons, which I think is a little over 50 miles.
Wild.
But so I'm going to swing by and support him. But I just want to give a shout out to him because he found his way in life from a very, 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 very dark place.
Yeah.
And he finally shared the story. And dude, of course, I'm crying because he's like my son. But he just is like to look at him. In many ways, it reminds me of looking at you.
Yeah.
Of a person who hit a place, found their way through their own light, their own path out of the darkness. And life is just really, really beautiful right now.
It's such I'm sorry that he went through that, but life is so beautiful. And, it's nice. It is just super nice to have a new level of gratitude because, everything is so much sweeter.
I love what you said last week. I was grateful for the rockets firing in my car.
Yeah, I get to drive with the windows down. I get to walk around the St. Pete Pier and watch the sunset. Just a couple nights ago, I think it was Thursday night, the full moon was in Sagittarius. I went down to Sarasota and met up with someone, and it's the first time I ever saw the moon come up from the horizon. So I saw the moon rise.
Right.
Yeah, and it was gorgeous. And the whole time I'm sitting there, I was like, I was looking at the person that I was with and we're taking photos of the moon. And I was just like, man, I would have missed this.
Mm-hmm.
I would have missed this whole thing. Is so delicious, like it's just so sweet.
Yeah.
Why? What?
Yeah, totally, 100%. I think, and I mentioned this last week. Gratitude is a word that gets thrown around like on greeting cards, but it is such a powerful feeling.
Yeah, man.
So
yeah, and it opens up. They did a study and they found that when you are in a true sense of gratitude, the electromagnetism that surrounds your heart starts to outweigh the electromagnetism that is produced by your brain, and it creates this a different electromagnetic field around your body that's far more powerful. And when you're in a state of gratitude and you want to manifest or meditate or try to attract something that you're desiring, when you're in a state of gratitude, it comes to you far quicker.
yes.
Yeah.
One of the things I learned, and I've seen this in a cajillion places, and it's been part of my practice, is grateful for the things that have yet to come in physical reality.
Oh, yeah.
Like have gratitude for whatever, abundance, love, relationships, whatever it is that you request, or you ask of God, or you ask of the universe. Ask and you shall receive. But to be grateful for it.
Yeah.
And a lot, and I get it. Like, it's kind of like, well, how can I be grateful for something that's not here yet? So I get the paradox. I get the conflict, and it's something that I work on. But dude, I gotta tell you, when you're grateful for that, when you're literally grateful for the abundance, even though your checking account says like -$3 or whatever, dude,
Yeah.
it's crazy the things that happen, the synchronicities and the things that come into play.
It's sweet. And, talking about having a hard time understanding the paradox, something that's helped me is, the yin and yang, or the fact that like life couldn't exist without death, but they both exist at the same time in the same realm. So if you're ever feeling like, oh, I don't know if I can feel gratitude for something that hasn't come yet, well, think about life and death. If that can exist in the same place, you can feel gratitude for something that has yet to come.
Yeah.
So don't convince yourself that you can't, because you're only stopping nature from taking its course.
Yeah, and because we've talked, because we're just a couple of dudes talking about our feelings.
Yep.
We talk about feeling a lot.
Love it.
And when I meditate on feeling, so I'll meditate on abundance, and I have a couple of different meditations, but allowing myself to genuinely feel places in my body, like deep meditation. So I'll drop it, like, I literally, the way I look at it is I'm like dropping a word into a deep state. So I'll drop abundance into it, and I'll do a couple of mantras inside a deep meditation around that. And I feel it, like I feel this thing. I was actually having a conversation with the owner of the company I work with, the gentleman that's very religious. And again, we're talking about the same thing here, because he's like, yeah, man, when I lock into like prayer and I'm really locked in with God, he's like, I feel it on my scalp.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I've had that feeling before. I generally feel it in like my root chakra in that area, but I'll drop in freedom. Like, I love to drop the word freedom into a meditation, and knowing it's like you are free to do that which you want, and to be grateful for that free will to move, and like whatever that looks like for you.
Yeah.
And one other thought on gratitude, Sam Harris, who's whatever, I don't know what he is. He's a philosopher anyway. I've heard him on a few different podcasts, but he has this really interesting reflection on gratitude, and it's like mind blowing when you wrap your head around it. So put yourself in like the worst normal day.
Okay.
So like,
I'm there,
stuck in traffic. Like, people kept pulling out in front of me today driving here, and it's like, and I don't get mad. I don't like beat the steering wheel, but like I could feel like just the frustration of that, or just a bad normal day. I'm not talking about rock bottom,
right?
Because that's different. A bad normal day, your wife's mad at you, and all this that horrible stuff. There are at least 1 billion people on planet Earth right now who, trading spaces with you in that moment, it would be all of their dreams answered.
Yeah.
So be grateful for those frustrations, even the dark moments.
Yeah.
But like, when I heard that gratitude because it was a thing I'll play every once in a while. If I need that reminder, because we all do, that, and it's true. Think of the world we have. Think of a billion, probably 2 billion people that in whatever chaos they're in, whatever war they're in, whatever famine they're in right now, like if they could just swap places with you in that moment, every single one of their dreams would be answered. To have a meal, a car that drives, to be able to walk on 2 legs. That's a big gratitude for me. Like I look and I feel like I know plenty of people that, for whatever reason, they can't walk.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, I can walk. Like I just walk to the bathroom. That was awesome. And it seems so simple, but it's so powerful.
It is very powerful. It's music is always it for me. I'm always super grateful that I can, not only can I listen to music, but I have the ability to pull up whatever song I want to listen to in that moment. And it just, that stuff lights me up. And speaking of science, I don't know if you know this, but in every human body, there is a cluster of nerves that directly lines up with the chakras. So when you want to feel the energy, because everything is made of energy, your nervous system is the direct link to the outside energy that you could feel coming into you. So you literally have clusters of nerves throughout your whole body that line up exactly with the chakra system from that spirituality practice.
Which begs the question, like, what came first?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But also, does it, I don't know if that matters anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't
And
matter.
then, like, they've been doing, they did it was a study, but it wasn't like a real scientific study. But what somebody did and they recorded is they would have people lay down that were not spiritual and didn't believe in ESP or anything like that, and they would have them lay down and they would blindfold them, and they would tell that person that was laying down and blindfolded, they would say, I want you to focus all of your attention and awareness to the top of your head. And after about 5 minutes of having them focus there, they would hold up fingers into where that energy was and have them guess the number of fingers. Now, it's a very rudimentary experiment, but over 85% of the people guessed the correct amount of fingers when they were doing this little research experiment, which I found that to be incredible.
Yeah, I find that very not surprising.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's another thing where, on the conversation of God and vibration and feeling, tapping into that, it just makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Like the more I think about energy. So, manifestation, let's use that as an example. Like it makes sense to me that whether it be through gratitude or meditation, that if I can raise that vibration, that if I can raise that frequency, that I'm only going to bring things into my life that are of that frequency.
Yeah. You're a conduit.
Yeah. Being that conduit of that. Like, and, back to the conversation of God, like, it's like, all right, well, if I'm going to listen to God, source, the universe, and I can genuinely feel, hey, I go in this direction and that feels good. Or I go in this other direction that doesn't feel good. Okay. Literally go in the direction of the thing that feels good.
Yeah.
Like, and it just makes sense to me that things then start to present themselves. The synchronicities, the signs, like, and for whatever reason, like that makes perfect sense to me. Like that's the law of the universe. Yeah. That's the law of God, resonance and vibration and frequency. Like the Terrence Howard. If you haven't listened to the Terrence Howard conversation, there are parts that I'm like, I don't know what the hell he just said. I have no idea. But, being able to, like he talks about splitting water, hydrogen and oxygen, not with beryllium, but with the resonance of beryllium.
Yeah.
Like that's powerful, man.
Because everything responds to vibrational energy. You don't even need that thing to physically be there.
Yes.
I mentioned this earlier, but one of the craziest studies that I read in the last couple of years is when they started to turn on CERN and split atoms, they wanted to know what makes up an atom, because all we knew was the smallest part of physical existence was an atom. they wanted to go deeper and see what that was, and they discovered what they call quarks.
Mhm.
And atoms are made up of quarks, and then when they looked into a quark to see what that is made out of, they discovered that it is 2% physical matter and 98% vibrational energy. So that begs the question, is anything that we perceive in this physical world as something physical, is it actually physical? Or is the electrical signal that our brain gives our bodies making this a physical reality for us?
I've thought that for a long time.
Yeah.
Like when I remember sitting in like, I don't know, like high school, and they were talked about, they didn't have that technology then,
Mm-hmm.
but they would just talk about like, well, atoms are, mostly empty space. And I'm like, well, if the building block of life, maybe that's DNA. Anyway, if an atom is mostly empty space and everything is made up of atoms, wouldn't it stand to realize or theorize that everything is empty space?
Yeah.
Then why is that hard?
Because our brain, the organ, gives us this to experience, to be able to play. And I use that word specifically, play, in a physical realm, because the vibrational energy that we are wants to play in a physical realm and experience all that that physical realm has to offer in the time that we're here.
Yeah. And again, it makes sense to me, like in the conversation of God, in the conversation of source, it makes sense to me that we are like, if you can approach it through that mindset of just like, hey, this is a game.
Yeah.
Let's just go have some fun.
Right.
Like you can attract things into your life, and you can bring things in your life that feed into that. And again, we don't have much time. I know we got to wrap up, but everything is all happening at once.
Oh, dude, don't even get me started.
I know. Next week. But everything is happening at once.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're like, man, this hasn't happened for me yet. Yes, it has.
Yeah.
It's all happening
right now.
Right now.
That's why I love time is not real. And
no, it's not.
When it is hard to think about, but like I said, when you can really grasp it and understand that everything is happening all at once, you could decide to be and do whatever it is you want.
Amen, brother.
Play.
Hey, this was a good conversation today.
Yeah,
I really enjoy it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for contributing. Thank you for adding in that conversation, and thank you for lying to me.
Yeah, I'm sorry I lied, but I love you.